So guys, we got the hit heard around the world. We have the Connecticut Sun that seems to not be able to lose. We have a new professional women's basketball league in America called Unrivaled. That and a whole lot more on today's episode of Women's Basketball Weekly. So let's get into it, guys. And we begin by taking a look at the WNBA's rookies and talking about some of the top rookies so far. So right now we have 19 rookies in the WNBA right now. We have Lou Lopez-Sinasal, Celeste Taylor, Marquisha Davis, Nika Mule, Alyssa Peely, Olivia Yopopa, JC Sheldon, Leilani Fibich, Stephanie Soares, Camila Cardozo, Jaylen Brown, Aaliyah Edwards, Kate Martin, Rakia Jackson, Julie Van Loo, Cameron Brink, Angel Reese, Sevgi Uzun, and Caitlin Clark. So those are the rookies that we have so far in the WNBA, and not all of those are fresh out of college rookies. You notice some of those names are players who played overseas in Europe before coming to the WNBA for the first time. And then also that we know that there are some players who were drafted last year and whatnot, but were injured. And so this is technically their rookie season. All right, so some of the rookies that are doing really, really well. There's quite a few. Right now, the race for the Rookie of the Year is on, and while I see it as a two-man race right now between Caitlin Clark and Cameron Brink, there are some other players that are balling out of control. So here is the rookie leaderboard so far. So in terms of points, of course, we got Caitlin Clark leading the charge right here with 15.6 points a game. She really is doing her thing in terms of scoring. Yes, not the most efficient, but she's getting points on the board and making an impact for her squad in terms of points. Next up, for the second place for rookies, we have Angel Reese, who is scoring 10.6 points a game. Again, similar to Caitlin Clark, not as efficient, but is able to make an impact, get points on the board for their team. We have, next up for number 3, we have Rakia Jackson. Rakia is averaging 10 points a game. Rakia, has less minutes than both Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, but she is finding a way to score and score pretty efficiently as well. Scoring the basket. So far, we have Rakia Jackson shooting around 49% from the field, which is pretty efficient. Pretty efficient stuff. All right, next up, let's talk about rebounds. So Angel Reese is leading the rebounding charge for the rookies, averaging 8.9 rebounds a game. And guys, this is also a league metric that we want to look at as well, because Angel Reese is ranked 7th in the WNBA right now in rebounds per game. So pretty nice. Pretty nice stuff from Angel Reese. And quite a few of her rebounds are offensive rebounds. Yes, some of those are on her own misses, but the fact that she is grabbing so many rebounds is pretty fantastic, especially looking at how she ranks against other players in the WNBA. Next up for rebounds, we have Cameron Brink, who is averaging 5.4 rebounds a game. And then we have Caitlin Clark, who's averaging 5.1 rebounds a game. For assists each game, we have Caitlin Clark, who is averaging 6.4 assists per game. Now, again, looking at the WNBA as a whole, this ranks 4th in the WNBA, which is huge, a huge metric for Caitlin Clark. Cameron Brink is second on that list with 2.1 assists per game, and Angel Reese is third with 1.9 assists per game. All right, for blocks, let's talk about some defense. Cameron Brink is leading the charge in terms of blocks. She has 2.6 blocks per game, which puts her at 3rd in the WNBA. Caitlin Clark has 1 block per game, which is kind of wild. Caitlin Clark has one block per game. And Aaliyah Edwards is number 3 at 0.9 blocks a game. So that's kind of how the rookies kind of fare. Yes, Caitlin Clark's name is mentioned quite a bit because she really has been really good. I know that a lot of people, were expecting her to do 30 some points a game like she did in college, but the WNBA is very different. She's averaging some really good stats. Yes, her turnovers are high, but other than that, She's doing a really good job for being a rookie so far. Same thing I would say for Angel Reese as well. She has found a really good niche with the Chicago Sky in terms of her particular role, grabbing rebounds, just sort of being a all-around hustler that can get points on the board and ultimately make a big impact for her squad. Now that Camila Cardozo is officially back, I'm interested to see how they work together, and how to make stuff happen for the post play of the Chicago Sky, because it's very likely that we will see both of those players starting together. Angel's already starting, and Camila is just now getting back, so it's pretty obvious to me that she will be in the starting lineup very, very, very soon. All right, so that is your rookie talk for this week. Guys, let me know, who is your favorite rookie so far, and what have you been most impressed about in terms of rookie play? All right, and before we move on, I do want to highlight two clips from the rookies, from Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark. For Angel Reese, she had a press conference recently in which she talked about her impact on the game of women's basketball.
I think so many people are watching women's basketball right now. It all started from the national championship game, and I've been dealing with this for 2 years now. And understanding, negative things have probably been said about me, but honestly, I'll take that, because look where women's basketball is. People are talking about women's basketball, but you never would think that we'd be talking about women's basketball. People are pulling up to games. We got celebrities coming to games, sold out arenas, just because of one single game. And just looking at that, I'll take that role. I'll take the bad guy role, and I'll continue to take that on and be that for my teammates. And if I want to be that, and I know I'll go down in history, I'll look back in 20 years and be like, yeah, the reason why we watching women's basketball is not just because of one person. It's because of me too, and I want y'all to realize that. It's not just because of one person. A lot of us have done so much for this game, and Kennedy has been here before, obviously, but there are so many great players in this league that have deserved this for a really, really long time, and luckily, it's coming now.
And for Caitlin Clark, there's been a lot of stuff happening with her in terms of commentary online. We'll get to more of that in a sec. Physical play. And she was asked recently, does she still enjoy the game? And here's what she said.
Are you having fun?
Absolutely. I've been having a lot of fun. This is my childhood dream. So if I'm not having fun doing this, then there's probably a bigger issue. But also, I always remind myself, sure, there's moments where I've been frustrated and, upset of, we've lost here, I haven't performed here, or things that I want to clean up. But, there are so many people that would love to be in my position or would love to have this opportunity. I get to do this as my job. How lucky am I? So, sometimes that's hard to remind yourself of and, put everything into perspective. But, that's what I try to do. And I think at the same time that kind of takes the pressure off and really allows me to have fun and just keep playing the game I love. So thanks for the question.
All right, guys. So now let's move on from rookies to the best team in the WNBA, the Connecticut Sun. Guys, they are now 8-0 on the season, which if you put that in historical perspective, that is 7th best in WNBA history. That is the 7th best start in WNBA history. The other teams that did that are the Lynx and the Sparks multiple times. And each time, the worst that the Lynx and Sparks did when they started off 8-0 or better, the worst they did that season was make it to the finals. So, yeah, maybe a finals appearance is on the horizon for the Sun. And if you are curious, guys, the best WNBA start ever was in 2016 with the Minnesota Lynx. Yes, that is the Minnesota Lynx with a starting lineup of Maya Moore, Lindsay Whalen, Simone Augustus, Rebecca Brunson, and Sylvia Fowles. One of the most dominant starting lineups in WNBA history. Anyway, the 2016 Lynx had a start of 13-0 to the season. They did the thing that year. They didn't win the championship that year, but they won it the year after. But back to the historic Connecticut Sun run. Sure, they have had some close games. You can take Friday's game against the Dallas Wings. Connecticut won by 2 points, 74-72. And how exactly did they win? Well, it's how they usually win. Alyssa Thomas. With 9 seconds to go in the game, it was all tied up, 72 all. Alyssa Thomas blocks Kalani Brown's layup, and Ty Harris ended up getting a rebound and got fouled, and she sealed the deal by making both free throws and getting the dub for the Connecticut Sun. The core for the Sun are Alyssa Thomas, DeWanna Bonner, and Brianna Jones. And this season, the team added Dejanay Carrington and Ty Harris to the starting lineup. And they have been pretty effective as a starting lineup. Alyssa is leading the W in assists per game with 9. She is 4th in rebounds per game with 9.6. DeWanna Bonner is averaging a career high 47.5 points from the field and is also averaging 19 points a game. Of players averaging more than 15 minutes a game, Brianna Jones is 4th in the WNBA in field goal percentage, averaging 62.2% from the field, giving her team 13.1 points a game. Then you got three-point assassin Ty Harris, who's averaging career high 10.25 points a game, and Dejanay Carrington, who has put everybody on notice of her offensive and defensive skill, providing the team with 12.9 points a game. That is a tough starting five to face, and their bench doesn't play that much. But when they do play, you better watch out because Rachel Banham can come in the game and shoot. So this year, while the Aces are still the team to beat, the Connecticut Sun are the Goliath that every team has to go through in order to sniff at a WNBA Finals appearance. Now, my question to you guys is, do you think that this is the year that the Connecticut Sun can do the thing that they have yet to do? Win a championship. I really do think it might be their year. This might be the closest that they'll get to winning a championship because they have the perfect squad. They really do. They have a fantastic facilitator. They have defensive-minded players who can keep you from scoring. They got shooters, and they have the unicorn that is DeWanna Bonner. So, it's tough to face a team like the Connecticut Sun and come out on the other end, especially if they stay healthy all season. It's gonna be hard to imagine a team that will beat them. But I know this thing. I cannot wait to see the Las Vegas Aces play the Connecticut Sun. Now that, guys, is going to be a game to see. And guys, let me know in the comments what you think about the Connecticut Sun and what they are doing this season. All right, next up, let's talk about the thing that truly everybody seems to be talking about for days now. And that is this foul that Chennedy Carter committed on Caitlin Clark on Saturday during the Sky versus Fever game. Now, to try to put this into context, it seems like in the previous play that Caitlin might have hit Chennedy Carter and was jawing a little bit. And so could this have been retaliation on Kennedy's part? I think so. I would say so. But the retaliation went over the line. And while it was called just a foul in the moment by the refs, it should have been a flagrant one, which the WNBA announced on Sunday that they upgraded the foul to. After the game was over, both players had this to say.
Bumping in with Caitlin, it seemed like she turned to you a little bit.
Yeah.
After the
I ain't answering no Caitlin Clark questions.
Did she say anything to you?
I don't know what she said.
What'd you say to her?
I didn't say anything.
That's enough. We're good. She's good.
Caitlin, we saw the play in the third quarter where Carter kind of decked you. Mm-hmm. How do you respond to that and stay within yourself when maybe you weren't expecting that?
Yeah, I wasn't expecting it, but I think it's just respond, come down, let your play do the talking. It is what it is. It's a physical game. Go make the free throw and then execute on offense. And I feel like that's kind of what we did, but, it is what it is, I guess. I don't know.
It was also announced on Sunday that Angel Reese of the Chicago Sky has been fined $1,000 for failing to make herself available to the media for interviews following the game. And it was also announced that the Sky was fined $5,000 for failing to ensure that all players comply with the WNBA media policies.
Yeah, I mean, obviously everybody knows here that has interviewed me ever that I've been great with media and I've always taken on media. Obviously, I'll take accountability for it, but it was a lot of miscommunication within the media, the timeline of everything. So obviously, trying to make time for media is I've always made time for all of you guys, and obviously that was something on my behalf that I wasn't able to do at that moment just because of the timeline of it. But making sure moving forward that I make sure I take time out for you guys as well. But my family came. I had a lot going on as well because everybody comes to see me as well. So I want to also see my family too. So.
After the game, we saw Chennedy Carter go on social media and post the following posts.
There's no line. I'm competing. I'm going to compete. I've already let you know I'm going to compete. If you're going to throw punches first, I'm going to compete. It's all love. It's basketball. This happens in the NBA. Actually, I'm focused on New York now. I'm not really focused on that play anymore. It happened, okay? It's just a basketball. It just happened. Like, it's over with. I don't know why we're dragging it, but we continue to drag a play that happened, and a whole fourth quarter happened after that. Multiple events happened after that, guys. So we just got to let that play go. And I'm loving how the Sky and Angel and everyone is having my back, and I'm having their back, and we're standing together on this. We're all unified. We're all on the same page.
Kennedy, then, going on social media, is that something that you feel like was part of the competition, sharing your thoughts about Caitlin's game?
I think that this is just hoops. I think that at the end of the day, it's all about basketball. It's all love. You know what I'm saying? That's it.
So shit talking on social media is part of it?
Just talking in general. I think that, again, it's all hoops. As you see, everybody went on social media and let us know their opinions. So it's just all hoops, man. It's all fun. I don't really take it serious. It's just jokes.
Do you have any regrets not addressing it right away, though, because it's been dragged out?
No, I don't have any regrets not addressing it right away. Let me tell you guys something. I'm a person that when something happens, I need time to get my thoughts together. Heat of the moment answering is not probably the best answer. So for those who wanted a heat of the moment answer, I'm actually glad I didn't give you one. I'm glad you guys came today and actually asked me how I felt, and here I am. I'm letting you know.
And yesterday, head coach for the Chicago Sky, Teresa Weatherspoon, made a statement saying physical play, intensity, and a competitive spirit are hallmarks of Chicago Sky basketball. Kennedy got caught up in the heat of the moment in an effort to win the game. She and I have discussed what happened and that it was not appropriate, nor is it what we do or who we are. Kennedy understands that, and there are better ways to handle situations on the court, and she will learn from this, as we all will. As a team, we will grow together and continue to work hard to display strong leadership and set a positive example for our competitors, fans, and partners. But after Saturday, guys, that hit to Caitlin Clark and the video that came from it, it went wild. And everybody and their mama had something to say about it, given their hottest of takes on this issue. I am not going to go down a list of everyone that had something to say because I don't think that is helpful. But that what I will say is this. Yes, what Chennedy Carter did was wrong. It's messed up. She shouldn't have did it. She shouldn't have shoulder checked Caitlin Clark like that. And the refs are wrong for not going to the monitors in the moment and assessing that a flagrant one foul. But the narrative that the WNBA as a whole is out to get Caitlin Clark is also flat out wrong. One person on a non-basketball play does not equate to the entire league. Yes, Caitlin Clark is getting picked up 90 feet, even when she doesn't have the ball sometimes. Yes, she is getting double teamed, sometimes even triple teamed. That's not because players don't like her. It's because players recognize the greatness that Caitlin Clark has. And they don't want her to go off on them in terms of getting a bunch of points scored. Yes, do the refs need to get their act together and call certain fouls that are committed against Caitlin Clark? Yeah, sure. It feels like every year we have this conversation about the refs and, what they decide to call and what they decide not to call. The refs are always going to be a thing. And so it just sort of is a fact of being a sports fan that you will have calls that you're like, the ref should have did this and it didn't. That's just how it is. Yes, some people saw that non-basketball hit and made a narrative about everybody in the league, and that is not true. Most players and long-term fans and press recognize what Caitlin Clark has done for the growth of women's basketball. But that doesn't mean the players will take it easy on her. And just because they don't take it easy on her does not mean they hate her. Okay? I want everybody to get that under their mind, right? Caitlin Clark is going to be fine. Through her first 10 games, only her and Sabrina Ionescu have scored more than 168 points, 54 rebounds, and 60 assists. Yes, she does have a bunch of turnovers, but she will get that worked out, and she will be a stronger player because of it. The bumps that she takes as a WNBA player as a whole, in the grand scheme of things, is going to be fine. She's going to get stronger as a player. She's going to not just be able to take those hits, but also be able to dish some hits back. That hit that Kennedy did is a complete outlier and is not indicative of what WNBA players think of Caitlin Clark. This is not Caitlin Clark versus the WNBA. All right. This is a rookie that is transcended, women's basketball and what she's been able to do. She's a player who is an outlier. She's a player who's very good, but also she's a rookie. And as rookies all around the league experience welcome to the league moments.
Anna Taurasi. I was playing in Indiana, I think it was like my first or second year. Ball was on the sideline, out of bounds. I was on defense guarding her, and she just started chopping it up with me all charismatically, like, oh yeah, you're from San Bernardino, right, the IE. And then she literally hooks my arm and like draws a foul on me like 5 seconds later, and I just look at her like, oh, she's crazy.
Angel McCutcheon. We were playing Atlanta, and it was like the first time I really struggled with a defensive responsibility. She went up, I fell down, she got her shoulder into my chest, she finished, I went flying into the sands, and someone was like, too small, rookie. I was like, dang, that hurt. I still have that like cringy memory in my brain.
Went into the paint, and Sylvia Fowles was waiting for me right there, and I just didn't know what to do. I thought I bodied her, but she bodied me, and then I was just done.
To Leslie, she gave me an elbow to the chest, and she made a layup. And then also somebody who's here, Tisha Pinachero. I was posting her up, and I was calling for ball, and I was like, mismatch, mismatch. She was like, it ain't no mismatch, and she pulled the chair.
You embrace that moment, and you think all the rookies should be ready for that and be able to...
Everybody in the league should be ready for it, not just the rookies. I mean, coming into a league that is super competitive with amazing talent here, like, I wasn't coming in here expecting it to be easy because of the name I have. I'm playing for the name in front of me. I'm playing with the letters across my chest.
The WNBA is not a friendly kumbaya thing. It's not. So I hope that we can please move on about this conversation about Chennedy Carter and Caitlin Clark. They are not harassing Caitlin Clark. I don't believe that. While some players may not like Caitlin Clark, I think most players respect her and what she has done for the game. But that does not mean they're going to take it easy on her. So that is something to note, guys. So if you are a Caitlin Clark fan, just want you to know that this is not Caitlin versus the WNBA. All right. This is a rookie guard at that, finding her way in the WNBA. That's what this is. But before we move on, guys, I do want to hear your thoughts about this entire debacle. What are your thoughts? And also, what are some of the stuff that you've heard so far that are good arguments, and some of the stuff you heard so far that are like really bad arguments? And guys, while we're on this topic about rookies dealing with physical play, I want to take a trip down memory lane in their history books. Now, guys, before Caitlin Clark took the WNBA by storm, there was Candace Parker, who came into the league in 2008, not only as the #1 pick, but also as the player who came into the league with a lot of attention aimed at her. Guys, I don't know if you all remember, but Candace Parker leaving Tennessee was a huge deal. And there was a lot of fanfare around her arrival in the WNBA. And guys, as a rookie, Candace Parker lived up to the hype. She absolutely did. At the age of 22 in her first regular season game, Candace Parker exploded, finishing with almost a triple-double with 34 points on 63% shooting, 12 rebounds, 8 assists. Literally, no rookie has ever come close to seeing anything like that stat line in their first game. So yeah, Candace Parker was not just an elite player in college. She was proving to be an elite player in the WNBA, and she was different. But with that being said, Candace Parker still experienced firsthand the physical type of play that the WNBA is all about. They went at her hard, very hard, giving her hard fouls and doing things to show her that the WNBA is not what she experienced in college. And as a post player, Candace Parker was strong, and she was able to take those fouls and dish some back. And with that in your mind, I want to talk about a very specific game that happened during Candace's rookie season on July the 22nd, 2008. I remember watching this game actually on TV. It was live on ESPN2. It was a Tuesday night, Detroit Shock versus the LA Sparks. The game was in Detroit at the Palace of Auburn Hills with almost 13,000 fans in attendance. It was a pretty close game of physical play. There was 5.2 seconds on the clock left. Marie Ferdinand Harris was at the free throw line shooting some shots. It was clear that the LA Sparks was going to win the game. Marie Ferdinand makes her second shot. Detroit tries to inbound the ball, but instead, this happens. Rookie Candace Parker and WNBA vet and quote-unquote bad girl, Plannette Pearson, on the box out. They got tangled up. Pam Ward and Doris Burke were on the call, and they narrate as the craziness ensues.
Detroit has one timeout left. Here we go. Okay, this is absolutely inexcusable. Rick Mahorn pushed away Lisa Leslie, who fell backwards onto the court, and then Milton Jones hit Mahorn in the back. Yeah, there's going to be some suspensions and some fines, and there should be. This is inexcusable behavior. Absolutely no place in the game for this.
Plannette Pearson tried to punk Candace Parker, and Candace showed her that she is not going to allow it, and, that's what happened. Now, a lot of stuff happened in this skirmish. Detroit, big woman, Cheryl Ford, tore her ACL trying to stop the fight. For starting the whole thing, Plannette Pearson was suspended for 4 games. We saw the WNBA experience a huge boost in attention from the non-WNBA world as this led SportsCenter and the Nightly News. And this was dubbed the Malice in the Palace Part 2.
Rebecca Lobo is with Lisa Leslie.
Lisa, from your point of view, what happened to instigate the melee with a few seconds left in this game?
I think that when we were boxing out, I didn't see how Candace and Plannette got tangled up, but when I looked back, I saw Candace was on the floor and she was on top of her, and my thought was just to run over and try to get her off of her or help Candace up or help Candace. And then on my way running back, the coach just stepped in and he pushed me down, and I have no idea why he did that. He was closer to his player on top of my teammate. But, it's just really sad that happened because, as a role model, it's just really difficult to, this is not the way we want to represent ourselves. I'm a mom. I don't want to represent myself like this in front of my daughter. And then to have, a coach push me down, I don't even know why was he pushing me down. I wasn't swinging or hitting anybody. I was just going to go and help my teammate up, and as a veteran, I don't want for Candace to experience this and for her to be down on the floor and her not have a teammate to come help her. I wouldn't have fought anyone because that wasn't even, in my heart, but it was just a really sad thing, that happened, and it's unfortunate, but I'm happy we got the win. And, our team, we have to learn. We have to learn to be able to fight without physically fighting, but at the same time, this is not the way we want to represent ourselves in the WNBA. And, for it to be a television game, obviously, we'll probably make some highlights, and it's not the way that we want to get attention.
Obviously, a big rivalry between Detroit and Los Angeles. Were there any things happening earlier in the game that led to this?
Maybe the play before when they got tangled on a rebound, and sometimes the officials have to step in and maybe give the players a warning, but they didn't do that. It was a very physical game from start to finish, and it escalated. And I think maybe this is the type of game we have to look at and see, are we doing our best job to really control the physicality of the game, and is this the direction we really want to go in?
All right, Lisa, thank you. Appreciate it.
This was the biggest thing at that time. This was the biggest thing to ever happen to the WNBA as far as attention. And as a young fan, I was kind of torn because I love that people were acknowledging the league, but it wasn't about the great basketball that was being played. It was about an ugly fight. It was about drama. And that brings attention. That brings clicks, right? And while I understood that, I also didn't while I understood that and I knew that this was a introduction for some folks to the WNBA, I also didn't like the way that it all happened because it wasn't a good introduction. Women fighting on TV, not the best look at all. But weeks later, the WNBA was back to being old news again. This was the black stain on the WNBA for years, and specifically for both the Shock and Candace Parker. And in hindsight, at least from what I remember, it was a PR nightmare for WNBA president Donna Orender. I thought she handled it well. I thought the league handled it well. And the season went on. Katie Smith and the Detroit Shock made it to the WNBA Finals and defeated Becky Hammon and the San Antonio Silver Stars, defeating them 3-0 to win the WNBA championship that year. And this was their third championship in the WNBA at that time. And Candace Parker went on to do what no other WNBA player has ever done that season. She won Rookie of the Year and WNBA MVP in that same year. So, what is my point? Why did I just talk about this? My point in talking about this game is not to bring up old drama in the WNBA, but it's to reiterate that the WNBA is not a kumbaya league. It's a tough one. And historically, the WNBA hasn't taken it easy on rookies, or any player for that matter. Yes, since that fight, we haven't seen a rookie endure that type of issue, but having a welcome to the league moment is real. So guys, before we move on, I do have a question for you. Do you all remember that fight in the WNBA? Do you all remember that altercation? Let me know in the comments. Did you all watch that live? And if you did, what did you think about it at the moment? And if you didn't, what do you think about it now? Is it the first time you've ever heard about that altercation? Let me know in the comments below. Also, guys, if you are curious, here's kind of how that all happened. We saw 11 people get suspended, 1 coach, 10 players, and here's kind of how that broke out. Plannette Pearson, who initiated the entire thing, she got 4 games. Rick Mahorn got 2 games for getting on the court and pushing Lisa Leslie. Shannon Bobbitt with the Sparks had 2 games for leaving the bench and throwing a punch. Muriel Page had 2 games as well for leaving the bench and throwing a punch for the Sparks. Candace Parker had 1 game suspension due to throwing a punch. Delisha Milton-Jones had 1 game also for throwing a punch. Lisa Leslie got 1 game as well. Cheryl Sam for the Shock. Elaine Powell, Tasha Humphrey, and Kara Braxton each got 1 game for leaving the bench. And this game actually is what led Detroit to only have 7 players available to play. And this game actually led to another historic feat for the WNBA, their decision to sign then 50-year-old Nancy Lieberman to a 7-day contract. So guys, if you all remember that, if y'all remember Nancy Lieberman suiting it up, coming in the game and getting 2 assists and breaking a WNBA record as the oldest player to ever play in a WNBA game, like that was in response to this brawl, because the WNBA, the Detroit Shock didn't have enough players, basically. So that's why they had to do what they had to do, because so many players were suspended. So yeah, that is a fun fact for you all. Let me know your thoughts about this whole thing. And let me just know, guys, in the chat about just welcome to the league moments in general, and just the physicality of the WNBA, because the WNBA, again, as I said, it's not a cakewalk. It's not a kumbaya thing. These are fierce competitors who, during the game, want to dominate. They want to be very good, and they're going to show you up. And sometimes that does lead to incidents that we would prefer not to have. However, that's the game. That is absolutely the game. And there's countless of other fights that I could talk about in the WNBA, but I thought that Malice in the Palace Part 2, I thought that one was a good one to sort of show that, like, this isn't new. Caitlin will never experience, in my opinion, what Candace Parker experienced as a rookie. This is not a whataboutism. This is a put this in context type of thing before you say that this is unprecedented and that the WNBA is targeting her. I don't believe that's happening, though what Kennedy did, again, was wrong. All right, guys, let's move on and let's talk about the Commissioner's Cup, which began on June 1st and runs through June the 13th, with the championship happening on June the 25th. Now, if you all are confused about the Cup, here is a quick 101. So the Commissioner's Cup was created in 2021 and is an in-season competition for the WNBA. And what makes it... And it was made to bring more excitement to the regular season. You can think of this as the NBA's in-season tournament. You can think of this as similar to the NBA's in-season tournament. Before they did theirs, they had the WNBA sort of serve as a guinea pig to show that it could work. It's set up with Eastern Conference teams playing each other, and the same thing for the Western Conference teams. Each team will play 5 games in total, with a combination of them being home and away games. Now, the thing to note is that all Commissioner's Cup games are part of the team's 40-game schedule for the season and will count towards the team's regular season win-loss record. And the top team in the East will face the top team in the West for the Cup Championship, again taking place on the 25th. So these games, with the exception of the Commissioner's Cup Championship, they matter towards the regular season, and they matter towards the overall record for a team. But to add a little more of a sweetener for the players, they're competing for money, guys, both for themselves and for a charity that the teams have selected. For each Cup game, the winning team's charity will receive a monetary donation of $3,000. Losing teams' charities will earn $1,000 for each game, and an additional $10,000 donation will be made to the nonprofit organization that is aligned with the winner of the Commissioner's Cup Championship. And then $5,000 will be given to the loser, or the runner-up, for the Commissioner's Cup Championship game. Now, for the players, they're going to be getting some money as well. They have an opportunity to win a $500,000 prize pool for the Commissioner's Cup Championship winner. This is like a huge amount of money, and again, this is going to be pooled, so not every player is not getting $500,000. They're taking that $500,000 and then equally distributing that to the players. So that's something to know. So the team from each conference with the top record will appear in the Commissioner's Cup Championship. So the top team from the East will face the top team from the West. They will go head to head and battle it out and see who the champion will be and who will get that money. So guys, just so you all know, last year we saw the Las Vegas Aces face the New York Liberty in the Commissioner's Cup Championship. That actually happened in Vegas because Vegas had the better record at the time. And New York went in there and won. I guess they ultimately lost the WNBA Finals, but they did win the Commissioner's Cup Championship, and that brought a lot of money. Another thing to note is that prize pool has added an additional $120,000 in cryptocurrency to the prize pool as well, which includes $5,000 for each player in the championship game. So that is your quick 101 of the Commissioner's Cup. Play has already started, and we will ultimately see who will win from each conference. Now, guys, let me know. Do you have more questions about the Commissioner's Cup? Do you have an idea of who you think is going to win it all? What do you think about the new ball that they just debuted? Let me know all your thoughts in the comments below. Now, guys, over the last couple of weeks, we have seen some teams make some dramatic player transaction decisions. The Las Vegas Aces have waived rookie Deasia Fair and signed Tiffany Hayes to a rest of the season contract. And the Seattle Storm have waived Dulcie Fancom Mendeju and signed Joyner Holmes with a rest of the season contract. So guys, let's kind of talk about this. Now, first for the Aces, 2 Sundays ago, seemingly out of the blue, the Aces announced that they were waiving Deasia Fair 4 games into the season and 1 game after she made her first appearance in a game. Now, the reasoning, well, it seems to be on the defensive side of things. In a previous post-game presser, Becky Hammon seemed to suggest that Deasia Fair wasn't there just yet on the defensive end. She said she has a whole lot to learn and she is playing the hardest position on the floor. Deasia Fair came out of college 3rd on the all-time scoring list, and she was 2nd in the country this year on 3-pointers made. It's hard to deny her offensive skills, but it's going to be for her to develop from more than just an offensive-minded player. She needs to develop into a player that can be there defensively for her team in order to find a way back on a roster, a WNBA roster, I should say. For Deja Fair, she is handling it well. She said thank you when the announcement was made, and her college coach, Felicia Leggett Jack, responded saying, "Thank you for the opportunity. We will take what we have learned and be better for it. We fight on." So in terms of what's next for Deja Fair, well, it's all about finding the next team for her to join and improve. I do believe that we will see her go overseas to develop further, and in some time, we will see her back in the WNBA. Now, the question that everyone has on their minds is, will she get the $100,000 sponsorship? And I still don't know. I still don't actually know the answer to that. So TBD on when I actually find out. All right, I will let you all know when I know. All right, now on to the player that the Aces have signed to round out their roster. They have added formerly WNBA retired, Tiffany Hayes. Now, guys, in December, former UConn guard and 11-year vet, Tiffany Hayes said this.
I got to end my story how I want to end my story. Mm-hmm. So
Wait, Tip. Because I don't like how you just went to like end mean like, what that mean end?
It's the end. Like the end? Yeah, finito.
The end of what?
Yeah.
Hold on, man. The way you said it. Hold on, Tip. Hold on.
Yeah, man.
Hold on, because you making it seem like you saying like the end of basketball. I mean, like I don't even want to.
Well, you can still catch me overseas. How
okay,
about that?
Okay. But as far as WNBA, is this like
that was this right here with the Connecticut Sun was my last season.
Wait, man, hold on, because I know.
Why? I mean, it's a lot of things. Like I really feel like I'm older now. I got a lot of stuff that I really always want to get into, but I'm so busy because I'm playing year round. Like people don't understand that's a year round thing when you're doing overseas and the league. Plus my body, playing 11 seasons straight with no break every year. 2 seasons in a year every time, like that's a lot.
And losing time with your family.
Losing time with your family, and then like the W, I mean, like you said, I know I'm good, but sometimes you don't get that all the time.
Yeah.
So I just figured I'd just focus on one thing, and then summertime I could turn up my businesses, I could turn up time with my family, and just live life like that. I want to see how that goes.
But I guess she is over all that stuff, over all that rest. Because, guys, she's back, which is a good thing for the Aces because Tiffany Hayes provides the offense and defense that they absolutely need. Over her WNBA career, she averaged 13.6 points a game, 3.3 rebounds, and 2.4 assists a game. So far, she's played in 317 games, and she had 274 of those in the starting lineup. She was 4th in Defensive Player of the Year voting in 2018. She spent almost the entirety of her career in Atlanta before being traded in 2023 with Connecticut, where she started all the games last season for the Sun. Overseas this past offseason, she played in China for Shanghai, and she led that squad in points with 23 points a game on 42% shooting from the three-point line. She's averaged 7 rebounds a game and 3.9 assists per game. Tiffany Hayes is still a baller who has a whole lot to give to the WNBA. Now, the reasons for her deciding to unretire is making me look a little sideways at all the other retired players. But I guess the fact that she said she was only retiring from the WNBA and not basketball as a whole did kind of leave a little bit of a way for her to return back if the situation was right. And this situation with the Aces does seem right. It's possible that Tiffany just got bored from spending the beginning of the W season just watching games on TV. But guys, she's back and she's ready to do her thing. After the announcement was made, Tiffany said, "Joining the Aces will be very exciting for me. I'm just grateful that they are willing to work with me as I am diving headfirst into my new era in my life. It will be nice to experience the West Coast and this organization as I join them on the road to another winning season. I have no doubts that there is something special brewing, and I am another great ingredient being added to the mix. And here is what Becky Hammond had to say.
We're really excited about her. When being that we don't know the exact date for Chelsea, we felt like we needed to add another guard that had some experience. I know she had announced her retirement, but I thought she was kind of very specific about, the WNBA. And, if you know me, we're going to shoot our shot. So we called, even though she had said she was retiring, and had a great conversation with her. She's somebody who's actually given us buckets in the past. So I know she's a super tough guard, plays both ends of the floor. So that depth for us is just huge. And, we're excited to get her out there and running with our group. I think she'll fit in great. It was just an attempt to lengthen our bench a little bit. And we're super happy she said yes and took our phone call. That's for sure.
Now, this really does shore some things up for the Las Vegas Aces and their guard situation, while Chelsea Gray is still out. So we can probably expect Tiffany to play around 10 minutes plus a game for the Aces, and be a great player to come off the bench and make some stuff happen for the Aces while they wait for their number one point guard to return back to the court. Now, thoughts on how this affects the Las Vegas Aces going forward? Let me know in the comments. To me, I think this is a huge W for the Aces and for Tiffany Hayes. I think she's going to have an opportunity to win a WNBA championship with the Aces, and I think the Aces are going to help to ensure that they're back in the WNBA Finals again, because they have a proven guard who can both score and play defense. And so that's something that, they don't have to teach. There's nothing they have to teach when it comes to Tiffany Hayes. She got the bag already. She already knows how to be a professional in the WNBA. There's no learning curve really besides learning the plays for the Aces. And I think she has a great basketball mind. So we're going to see what she's able to do with the Las Vegas Aces. All right, so next up, let's talk about the Seattle Storm. The Seattle Storm announced on May the 31st that second-year player Dulcie Fancom-Mendeju has been waived from the team. She is a 6'3" South Florida center. She did what only few players could do last season. Last season, as a second-round pick, she made the squad. Not only that, she was pretty important for the team last year, starting 21 of 40 games for the Storm. But guys, last year's Seattle Storm team was bad. Very bad. And this year, they added some huge talent. Most notably in the post, Nneka Ogwumike. And that meant that all the other post players had to step up. And they did, with the exception of Dulcie, who fell to the bottom of rotation from playing 13 minutes a game last season to around 5 minutes a game this season. And the reason why she is not playing is because the Storm has championship goals. And Dulcie just isn't cutting it on both the offensive and defensive end. They need someone who can come in and back up Nneka as a power forward off the bench. And Dulcie, unfortunately, couldn't do that for the squad. So who did the Seattle Storm pick up? Well, they brought back 4-year vet Joyner Holmes. Joyner Holmes played for Seattle for part of the season last year and was with the team this year, but was waived in preseason on May the 13th. Now they're bringing Joyner back as Nneka's backup. And due to salary cap reasons, Seattle only has 11 players on their roster. So to me, I think having a player like Joyner Holmes on the squad for the Seattle Storm is smart. I think she is going to ultimately be a good backup, but we'll see. Guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And guys, just to put this all into perspective, cutting players in the regular season is nothing new. Last season, after the WNBA season started, we saw several players get cut. The Connecticut Sun waived Lauren Cox. The Atlanta Dream waived Lorella Kubai. The LA Sparks waived Joyner Holmes. The Indiana Fever waived Betty Hattar. And the list goes on and on and on and on. I'm sure we haven't seen the last WNBA player to get waived this season as teams try to figure out the right mix of players that will lead them to winning games. Women's basketball is getting a new professional league in the United States, so let's talk about it, guys. here is everything you need to know about Unrivaled. Unrivaled is a league co-founded by UConn greats, Minnesota Lynx, Nafisa Collier, and the New York Liberty's Breanna Stewart. And they are doing basketball different. It's going to be a 3x3 league featuring 30 players, and it's set to debut this January in Miami, running for 8 weeks. The league's 30 players will be divided into 6 teams of 5, and they will play full court on a shortened basketball court. It's around 2/3 of a normal WNBA court. Now, the rules have not been released yet, but it's likely that we will see some of those rules sort of mirror Olympic 3x3 play. Games will be shorter than WNBA games, while they are going to retain the 4-quarter format. So that's something to know. Players will be housed close to the facility where the games will be held. Now, in terms of who's playing for the league, well, we don't know the names yet. But the league did say that they had 10 WNBA All-Stars who have already signed on, but they have not released those names. They will be releasing them later in the summer. Now, when it comes to pay, well, it's going to start at a pretty high mark. Pay is going to start in the 6 figures for all players, making Unrivaled the highest paid league in professional U.S. women's sports history. And players who will join, they're going to have a equity stake in the league as well. So that's going to provide some pretty huge buy-in for players being ambassadors to this league. So now, if you're wondering, okay, they're playing in Miami. They are going to be housing players. They are paying each player at least 6 figures. How are they paying for all this stuff? You may be wondering. Well, they're paying for it because they're highly backed by some big name investors. They're backed by the who's who of sports, coaches, legends, all that good stuff. Some of their investors include famed UConn coach and 11-time national championship head coach Gino Auriemma, U.S. soccer co-captain and 2-time FIFA World Cup winner Alex Morgan, 5-time LPGA champion Michelle Wee West, 2-time NBA MVP and 8-time NBA All-Star Steve Nash, 2-time FIFA World Cup champ and Olympic gold medalist Megan Rapinoe, the former president of ESPN, John Skipper, former Turner president, David Levy, and a whole lot more. All that money raised alongside the media deals that will likely come very, very soon will all help to make the salaries, the location, all that good stuff work. So the question is, why Unrivaled and why now? Well, women's basketball has been having a moment for a while now. Ever since last year, starting with the 2023 Final Four, interest in women's basketball is at an all-time high. And there's money to be had by a lot of people. Unrivaled makes sense because there are players in the WNBA, top players in the WNBA, who no longer want to go overseas in the offseason. And the WNBA's prioritization rule that requires players to arrive at training camp on time or else face a season-long suspension makes Unrivaled a pretty good option for players. There needs to be more options for WNBA players in the offseason. Yes, there is Athletes Unlimited, but that's only for around a month in the offseason. Unrivaled is another option for top WNBA players to consider, or even do both, because it seems like you will be able to do both in this setup, because I don't believe both leagues overlap. And regarding the WNBA, Kathy Engelbert is fully in support of this. She said on X, on behalf of the WNBA, we applaud WNBA stars Nafisa Collier and Breanna Stewart on launching Unrivaled. The momentum for women's basketball has never been greater, and we will continue to work with them to showcase the amazing players of the WNBA. So guys, what do you all think about Unrivaled? I, for one, am very ecstatic that we will have more opportunities to see pro women's basketball in the United States. And hopefully, I will be able to make it to a game or two in Miami. Or at the very least, I'll watch it on TV. All right, guys, that is it for this week's edition of Women's Basketball Weekly. Thank you so much for joining and listening as we talked about more women's basketball. Guys, there's a lot more that I did not get to that we could talk about. There's a whole bunch that's happening with the transfer portal. I will have a video out about that tomorrow, a separate video out about that. So look forward to that. And I also have a lot more one-off videos coming out this week, as well as going live for various games. Now, guys, again, thank you so much for rocking with me. Please hit that subscribe button. Please hit that like button. Thank you to the folks on Patreon who are rocking with me, guys. And I got a huge announcement coming out very, very soon. We got merch coming, so we're gonna show some of it and talk about it and give you all the details, because the merch looks nice. It looks nice, guys. So hopefully you guys are excited about that. And guys, until next time, bye.